How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video here on Brass Bang, and today we're going to be talking about the Sig Sauer P365 X-Macro. This gun has exploded onto the scene. I knew it was going to have a lot of hype before it happened, but I'm actually still surprised at how much excitement and hype this gun has around it. And obviously, being that this is a gun channel, I wanted to test it out for myself and give some thoughts on it and some reviews on it. We're going to get into it. We're going to get into some pros, some cons of it, some things I loved, and some things I hated about the gun, and then the final verdict here. So with that being said, let's jump in the video. So I was already intrigued by this gun based on all the glowing reviews that I'd seen about it and all the press and hype that it's gotten. But I've recently partnered with a former Navy SEAL, Jason Redmond, on a beverage brand that we're starting called Patriot. And I've been talking to Jason a lot about guns and firearms with his SEAL background, and he is a huge proponent for Sig Sauer guns. So I was like, you know what? Jason's the man. I'm going to give this a try. I'm going to give it a shot. I bought it, and I would say the first impression was that it was a lot bigger than I thought it would be. This gun is just about the size of a Glock 19 in the length of the grip, the length of the slide, and the length of the barrel. It is not that far off from a Glock 19. So what's weird is everyone tends to classify it into this category with the other subcompact handguns, the Glock 43s, the regular Sig 365s, and all those types of firearms that are a lot smaller, the Shield Plus, all those guns. And it's definitely bigger than those. It's not going to be as concealable, and it's just not going to fit that same category of gun. And at least in my opinion, it's not going to be quite as concealable. And to me, it fits the bill more so of a all-around gun that can do a lot of things very well, but nothing perfectly. It could be a great home defense gun, but it might not be the best. It could be a great concealed carry gun, but it might not be the best. And it can kind of fit all these bills, but just not perfectly. It's one of those like jack of all trades, master of none type guns. And another disclaimer is that there's a bunch of different versions of this gun out there. I purchased the one without the compensator because I didn't want that decreased barrel length. I know there's benefits to the compensator, of course, that's why they do it, but I felt like the benefits of having a compensator outweighed the benefits of, if you didn't have that compensator on the end of the gun, you get a longer barrel, and you get the benefits of a longer barrel, greater accuracy, less recoil, things like that. So that's kind of my brief intro and disclaimer. Let's jump into some things that I loved and some things that I hated about it, starting with the things that I loved. First and foremost, I loved that this was a 17-round handgun. I mean, that is just insane for a gun of this size, this caliber. 17 rounds is just absurd. I don't know how they did it. I don't know what kind of magical fairies they had to call upon to make this happen, but it's pretty impressive that they were able to fit 17 rounds in a gun of this size. So that's a huge pro, of course. I would say another thing I loved about it was the stippling on the grip. It's nice, it's aggressive, it feels great in the hand, it feels like you can really get a solid grip on the gun, but we're going to circle back to that later. And then the magazine release. It is easy to reach, and the magazines actually pop out super quickly and easily. Taking a look here at my Glock 43X, the magazines pop out, they'll come out, but they don't really want to come out. On the X-Macro, I felt like they were just shooting out like a freaking cannon. And it's really confidence inspiring to know that when you get to the end of your mags, you can release that without having to shake it out or worry that it's going to get stuck and not come out. So I love that. I love that I can actually reach the magazine release super easily and well with my size hands. And the stippling on the grip was just phenomenal as well. And then when it comes to the things that I actually hated about this gun, a couple things here. First and foremost was going to be, I mentioned I had a great grip on my my main dominant hand, my right hand, but my support hand felt like it had nowhere to hold on the gun. There's no good spot that wasn't slippery or had texture that I could actually keep a grip on it when I was firing. And I frequently was having to readjust my left hand after a couple shots to make sure that I could get a good grip again. My thumb kept slipping off the gun. And that's not something I want to see out of a gun like that. Even the Glock 43X here, I don't know what it is about the grip and the ergonomics of the gun, but I never have an issue having to readjust my hand after firing off a few shots, but that was happening a lot with the X-Macro. And honestly, that's a really common complaint that I've heard about actually a lot of SIG handguns, the way they're designed, the ergonomics. They might have great stippling, but your support hand has kind of nowhere to ride on the gun. And then next would be the trigger. I think the trigger was a little bit lackluster on a gun of this price. It's actually a pretty expensive handgun as far as guns of this size and caliber go. It was pretty pricey, and the trigger didn't feel like it had a clean break. It felt a little bit mushy, so it was really hard to get off clean shots and really understand the break of the gun and where it was going to break, when it was going to break, and how to feel that out. And maybe that's just a thing with time that you get more used to. Being that I come from the Glock world, I feel like maybe I'm a little bit more used to that, but I can very safely say that a trigger that breaks as cleanly as this does is going to get me more accurate shots and more reliable and consistent shots, at least for myself, than the trigger that was on the X-Macro. And these things combined to make me a little bit unsure about the gun, but then there was the one thing that was still weighing on me in the back of my mind that I couldn't stop thinking about, and that's the just not 100% reliability of the Sig handguns and the number of malfunctions and discharges and other issues that Sig has been having with their handguns, with the reliability and the safety of them. And I'm sure that some of these were exaggerations and dramatizations of people trying to just make a headline, make a story out of it. But there's still all these different stories out there of bad things happening with Sig handguns, them fire when they're not supposed to fire, and Sig claiming that they fixed it, and maybe they did. Maybe it's a great handgun. Maybe the one I got would have lasted forever, never had a single malfunction, and was perfect. But it just was weighing on me in the back of my mind. So in the end, I ended up deciding to return the gun. I took it back to the store, sold it to them for a decent actually loss on the gun because it was at that point used. But I just couldn't break that thought in the back of my mind. So I would say if you are completely new to firearms and this is your first handgun you're going to be buying, the X-Macro is going to be a great handgun. Like I mentioned, it does a lot of things very well. It fits a lot of different bills and could be a great gun for you. For me, coming from the Glock world, I feel like there's just a little bit more time-tested, proven reliability. So switching from Glock to Sig to that gun just gives me a little bit of worry. And maybe that's unfounded. Come at me in the comment section if you want, but that's where I'm at. That's my opinion. And I'm still Team Glock. So with that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video and got something out of it. If you did, leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. Have you tried the X-Macro? Have you had a great experience with it? Do you totally disagree with the reliability concerns that I have? Or do you agree? Are you a little bit concerned about that as well? And maybe you've jumped ship, maybe you haven't, and you're still kind of on the fence. So hopefully this video helped you. If that's the case, leave a like on the video. Like I said, leave a comment down below with your thoughts and opinions, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos just like this one going forward. So with that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great day.